Nigeria, on today's headline. Obi promises 10,000 megawatts power boost in 4 years. 2027 showdown. Wickedness Atiku. Atiku fires back over Rivers vote. Rivers 2027. Rainbow Coalition will decide who succeeds Fubara. We will be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere. Joining us now to break down today's headline on Citizens Dialogue are two political personalities, Emerald Unufi and Okoro Vincent. It's a pleasure to have you join us, Okoro Vincent. Happy New Month and a Happy New Week to you.
Thank you very much, Cassie.
Yes, Cassie.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here, especially with my co-analyst, Emerald.
And to you, beautiful Emerald, it's a pleasure to have you. And you look amazing, by the way.
I am blushing. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Good to have you join us on our show.
Thank you.
All right. So on our headline today, the Nigerian Democratic Congress, that's NDC presidential candidate Peter Obi, says that in 4 years he's going to restore Nigeria and power electricity to 10,000 megawatts. We already know that Nigeria is using 4,000 megawatts, which is too small for a country that has over 200 million citizens, over 200 million people. So how realistic is this statement from Peter Obi? If elected as Nigerian president, how realistic is it to restore Nigerian power electricity from 4,000 to 10,000?
Right now, Nigeria, as a country, we are being served electricity at 4,000 megawatts. And then, of course, you agree with me that when you look at the size of the country in terms of our population, in terms of our industrial, the level of the industrial sector, the level of the commercial sector, and where we want to be, we're already been underserved before you even start talking about how that is going to take us to where we ought to be, or where we want to be, or where we are aspiring to be in this case. So we have a presidential aspirant, not just saying there's going to be constant power supply, because before this time, that is basically what we used to hear, that within 4 years we are going to have constant power supply.
Exactly.
But here, Mr. Peter Obi is giving Nigerians figures that we are going to have 10,000 megawatts. Now there's a clause there, because it falls short in telling us if 10,000 megawatts is what over 230 million Nigerians, if 10,000 megawatts will be sufficient rather for 230 million Nigerians. And then also analysts will be asking if actually that is an empirical claim, meaning that did he actually carry a survey study as an individual? Because if you are telling us that 10,000 megawatts, restoring our power sector to up to 10,000 megawatts is what is sufficient, or that's what you are going to do, it automatically translates to you telling us that 10,000 megawatts will be enough to power our homes, power our businesses, and power our industries. That's what he's trying to say. So is that empirical? Is it practical? Has he carried out survey? Where did he get that data that make him to arrive at the 10,000 megawatts that he is claiming? But the fact remains that he is not the president yet, and then there have been antecedents of fake promises. Of course, you will not tell me that Nigerians listening to Peter Obi will not be asking themselves if this is not going to translate to another thing of the promised land, and at the end of the day we fail or we are unable to enter by the virtue of continuous failed promises of our leaders. So are we going to take the claim or the promises of Peter Obi to the bank, that at the end of the day, if Nigerians bestow upon him the leadership of this nation, to be our president, that he is actually going to be able to fulfill the promise of providing 10,000 megawatts of electricity. Mind you, there is something critical that I also want to mention here. We have our petroleum sector. You have when Obasanjo was the president of this country, he was the minister of petroleum. He doubled as the minister of petroleum. Yar'Adua came, he did the same thing. Jonathan came, did the same thing. Buhari came, did the same thing. And then do we have Tinubu government? It's almost the same thing that we are seeing. Now, is Obi going to be in that? Now, it was like the petroleum sector. If it is in order, Nigeria will be okay. Is Peter Obi trying to tell us that if the power sector is the main focus of his government, because that has been a critical sector where attention has been wanting. We have administration after administration budgeting monies in trillions of naira, and yet Nigerians remain immersed in darkness. So Peter Obi, does he have a technocrat that is going to be the minister of power that will help his government to revitalize the power sector for us to have 10,000 megawatts within 4 years?
All right, Vincent, sorry to interject. You know, judging by what Peter Obi has done in Anambra State, I think he already have all his data in place and he knows exactly what to do, because for a person who left office in Anambra State, leaving billions of naira for the incoming governor that succeeded him, I think Peter Obi has everything in place. And for Nigerians, if they are going to actually believe him or not, I think most of the Nigerians, most of our youth, they already have so much faith and so much confidence in Peter Obi. So we hope for the better. And Emerald, right now I'm coming to you. You know, judging by the things that have been happening in Nigeria, National Grid, you know, the Minister of Power, the former Minister of Power, before he actually went to contest as a governor aspirant in Oyo State, he promised that he's going to restore power in Nigeria on that 2 weeks. And within 2 weeks, nothing actually happened. Even after leaving office, nothing has actually happened. Now, with Peter Obi promising that within 4 years he's going to restore power, he's going to restore power from 4,000 megawatts to 10,000 megawatts, where will the funding come? Because currently Nigeria is owing so much. Tinubu has accumulated so much debt. So where would they generate this fund from? Are they going to add to Nigerians already worsening debt that Nigeria is already owing?
Now, Cassie, I'm going to start this analysis with a question.
Okay.
Why has it been difficult for us to really validate the words and the promises of leaders in Nigeria? That is a question that I want to ask every of these leaders who are campaigning for one position to the other. Everybody's making promises, always making promises, always at the point of political elections and programs and processes running. Now, let me, before I answer where the funds are going to come from.
Okay.
Now, Peter Obi is coming in again for this same promise that he's going to do this, he's going to give 10,000 watts or 10,000 megawatts or whatever for Nigeria. Now, when he was governor in Anambra State, what was the milestone, that the very specific project that he did concerning the same power issue? That is the question. Now, if we look at someone like Wike took the initiative to build some power stations around River State. Well, one would not discriminate the fact that, I mean, the reason why he is so-called a demigod in River State. Yeah. So now, what is the exact thing that Peter Obi did when he was governor? These are the questions that will validate him, validate his words and his claim. I have had to witness a whole lot of, you know, it's not uncommon for Nigerians on the street to lose complete confidence and trust in all the leaders of this country vying for positions and everything. Okay, that's one part. Number two, the finances. Yes, we know how much Nigeria is owing. It still comes down to the same thing. What have they been doing with all the money they've been borrowing? World Bank issue, this and all of that. There is no accountability. Nobody's transparent enough to tell us, okay, this is what it is. And this is how it's going to be. So it's highly questionable. Promises or no promises, who can come out these days to tell us that this is what they are standing by, and we really validate that word? That is the question I'm putting to everybody, and even to my fellow Nigerians. So the funding may not be the issue. Nigeria is one of the richest African countries, if I'm not correct, by statistics. If not the richest. Yes. So the issue of funding will not be an issue if we have leaders that are not corrupt. If we have leaders that say, okay, I'm going to bring down, okay, look at the issue of fuel subsidy. The whole thing has completely upturned the system in Nigeria. Coming to work today was really an issue because you have to trek long distance. I mean, you have to pay extra. But these people promised us 4 years ago.
Beyond your budget, of course.
Yes. So it is no longer the issue of finances. It is actually the issue of validating your words. How valid are your promises, Cassie?
Especially considering your antecedents.
Yes, exactly. So that's it for me for now.
All right, thank you so much, Emerald, for that wonderful analysis. You know, I still think that Peter Obi has everything piled up. He has everything in place. And when you talked about him, what did he do concerning power in Anambra State? Yeah. But aside the power, he did a lot of things, like the plantation. Okay, I think in Imo State that they had plantation, but he was more focused on education. He was more focused on helping people that he knew that they could actually account for whatever penny that was given to them. And Peter Obi is not just a politician. He's a politician that he doesn't spend money to get into power. He works he believes in working, not just spending money. Other politicians use money to buy power. At the end of the day, what they do is when they get into office, they try to get back the resources that they sunk into getting into the power. But Peter Obi didn't do that. He, in fact, even to your date, he doesn't spend money anyhow. He's very conscious when it comes to spending. And before a dime goes out of his pocket, whatever he's spending that dime on has to account for what he's been.
Well, Cassie, I'm going to really cut you in there. Now, I am not in any position to judge any of the political leaders. Okay, we are asking for visible projects. We are asking for visible evidence. Okay, we're not asking about you ruling a state is different from you ruling a country. These are two very distinct factors that we must understand. Now, you are coming in to tell us, okay, you did this in Anambra, I'm going to do this. It still boils down to the same thing. What are you giving us?
And that's what he's bringing to the table. This is,
we have had that so many things on the table.
Yes, aside this 10,000 megawatts per restoration and many more, there are other things that we follow. I think we should just give him a benefit of the doubt, because already our political system, our politicians have made it so difficult for we voters, we Nigerians, to actually believe them on their mandate. But looking at Peter Obi, he's a man of integrity, he's a man that keeps to his words. So if given the chance to become the president, just give him the chance first and let's see what is going to happen. And then you talk about capacity, that ruling a state and ruling a country is not the same. Look at our president Tinubu. When he was governor of Lagos State, he did a lot. Like, he ruled within his capacity, but becoming a president of a country, the capacity is no longer there. Like, he's not doing so much.
That is exactly the point that Emirate is trying to make.
Yes, so
because Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra State. Now we are trying to ask, when the 8 years, not 4 years now, because we are talking about 4 years as a president. Now the 8 years he was governor of Anambra State, what was his track record in revitalizing key sectors of the Anambra?
The 4 years that Tinubu was the governor of Lagos, what was his track record? It's the same thing. Let's just give Peter Obi the benefit of the doubt.
We are talking about, let's try to focus our attention on Peter Obi, because he is the subject here. Now, in the 8 years that Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra State, of course, he touched key sectors. You mentioned education here. Now, I believe that if you go to Anambra State today, we have the footprints of Peter Obi in Anambra State. As far
even the health sectors,
as far as key sectors of that state is concerned. Now, we are talking about Nigeria, not Anambra State. We have seen governors deciding that they are on ground. Commissioners are just mere ceremonial
entities,
in different ministries. But when it comes to the country, I have not seen where a president comes down from Asurok, where we have international diplomacy, we have international mission, we have insecurity, we have agriculture and all the rest of them. They're coming to say, okay, he is going to supervise one ministry after the other. That is why I raised the point from the onset that is Peter Obi going to be minister of power, so that we know that is what is going to be his main focus. Like what Tinubu is doing right now. We have seen the Lagos, Badagry, Sokoto super highway. Then we have seen the Lagos Calabar coastal road. Then it makes us have this feeling that is where he's focusing his attention for.
So is he the minister of power?
Now, for
thank you so much, Vincent, for that analysis. We have to move away from that to another another development. In 2027, we have to move away from that to another development. And this time, Emerald, I'm starting with you on this particular development. The Wike, the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, has fired back. He fired to Atiku Abubakar, that's the African Democratic Congress and presidential candidate. He said that he will not get 10% votes in Rivers State. That Rivers State as a whole will not give him a vote. That's their vote is solely for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that's the APC. And now Atiku Abubakar has fired back at Wike that Rivers State is not his personal property, meaning that he do not hold the power to Rivers people. So in this context, the question is, who truly controls Rivers power? Is it Wike or Fubara or the electorate? Because just like in your initial analysis, you mentioned that Wike did a lot in Rivers State concerning power, electricity, and that's why he's been seen as a demigod in Rivers State. So in this context, who holds the power? Is it Wike, is it Fubara, or the electorate?
Cassie, that's a beautiful one. Over the years, I have got to I've discovered that the rights and the privileges of citizens have been taken away from them for so long. So it's very possible for him to make that statement because he knows exactly what he's doing. But the question is, deciding this, are you deciding for yourself or you're deciding for the citizen?
Yes.
Yeah. Why say that? Now everyone is entitled, for his or her votes, your decision and everything, who you vote for and all of that. And of course you have a valid reason, because I don't think that any Nigerian should go ahead to make the same mistakes that we've been making. Now, you're saying that this man, Abubakar, will not have anything there. Why would you decide for the citizen? Are you now telling the world that you have a biased mind? Are you now telling the world that you can decide, you can take decision for a whole millions of people in Rivers State?
But that's what your initial statement actually said, that Rivers people see him as a demigod because of the power that he has. So perhaps he has seen his position. It does not
exclude the fact that yes, he has done good things, but do not take the rights of people away from them. When it comes to election, allow people to decide what they ever would want to vote. Yes, good enough, you have done some nice things, you have done things which has made these people to think that you're a certain kind of personality, but then it comes down to election. Election is what we're talking about here, free and fair, right?
Yeah.
If election is free and fair, you can't decide whether Atiku Abubakar is going to have votes or not. Now, that's one. Number two, what would be your reason to say that? What kind of problem, what kind of issue do you have with Atiku that you're bringing it to the world, for the world to see? We Nigerians, we are so good at washing our dirty linen outside. Yeah. So what is your problem with Atiku? Why are you not telling us what the problem is? And then you are supposed to be a leader. Wike is a leader, so therefore you were supposed to make your decisions based on the fact that, okay, you're matured, or you have the knowledge, or you are widely read, you're widely traveled. Yeah, because this shows how you're going to lead Nigerians. This questions your leadership qualities. Okay, Atiku has not told us what is the problem between two of them. So I think they need to come out open and tell us what the problem is. Don't you think so?
I think so as well. Thank you so much, Emerald. Vincent, over to you. You know, Wike once in a certain time, Wike said that if he should come out as a presidential candidate in Nigeria, that Nigeria will vote him, that Nigeria loves him so much. Judging by his shenanigans with this his attitude, do you think that Nigerians will love him so much that they'll want to vote him if eventually he comes out in 2031? And then secondly, he has consistently said that Rivers State is solely for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. How critical is the South-South region to Tinubu's re-election, especially given the economic pressure?
Okay, we are talking about the person and character of Mr. Wike, right?
Yeah.
Now, I will first and foremost go back a little with respect to his claim that Rivers State is that Atiku and other presidential candidates, none of them is going to have up to 10% of Rivers votes. Now, on the surface of it, you will see that that particular claim is very bogus, and then you perceive arrogance, then you perceive high-handedness, and then you perceive a man that is more or less full of himself for him to come on stage to make such claims. But on the other way around, this is a politician that we are talking about. What else do you expect of him? Now, to me, he has more or less laid the gauntlet before the likes of Atiku, before the likes of Obi, to make them understand that when it comes to Rivers State, their work is cut out. So now a lot of people have gone agog as far as reaction to whatever Wike have to tell his followers under the Rainbow Coalition is concerned about this particular statement that the Rivers State is for Tinubu. But why can't we go back? Why can't we go inward and start looking at what is embodying the person of Mr. Wike to make such claims and take such stand that Rivers State is for Tinubu? By and large, the people of Rivers State have had it very, very hard as far as the last 3 to 4 years now of Tinubu administration is concerned. And an individual, a citizen of the state, is coming to tell the world that Rivers State belongs to Tinubu. So, are we going to start bickering on this man, or we are to go inward and begin to ask ourselves critical questions as far as the position of this man that Rivers State is for Tinubu is concerned, and how are we going to neutralize such claim? Now, coming to the issue of if Wike can make do of his claims as in delivering Rivers State for Tinubu is concerned, as regards to that he claimed that Rivers people love him, that if he comes out in Nigeria, he's going to defeat whoever as far as a presidential race is concerned. Of course, that is subjective. Any person can claim anything. Even me, if I'm coming out as president today, or for any political position, there is no way I will tell you that I will not win. So to me, we will just take that on the surface of it because it is left to be proven. Then the issue of if Rivers people are going to still turn up for Tinubu again, that is left for the electorate. Like just as you said, for a long time we have more or less taken the citizens of this our politicians rather have taken the citizens of this country to the cleaners as far as their power to decide who leads them is concerned. And that is why I'm saying that other politicians that are listening to Wike today need to stand up and give the confidence back to the citizens of Rivers State. Because like I used to tell people, INEC as a body is not manned by robots. Okay, it's manned by robot partly because we have the computer or the Beavers machine and all the rest of them. But all these are subject to the operation of the citizens of Nigeria. Why is it that citizens of Nigeria keep allowing themselves to be used by this politician? Then we turn back to start complaining. So to me, whatever Wike is saying today, whatever Tinubu, the confidence that Tinubu is having to seek re-election, despite the shortcoming that we are seeing in the system, it all boils down to the capacity that the citizens of this country have allowed these men to build.
Exactly.
That is why they have it. That's where they are getting the confidence from. So if the Rivers people, in their right thinking minds, in their right thinking senses, decide that enough is enough for politicians taking them for a ride, one election to another, then it's left for them to rise up. So that is how I see it.
All right, thank you so much, Vincent. Still on politics, the same FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, in a luncheon held in Port Harcourt, I think over the weekend, that was on Saturday or so, he made a statement that the Rainbow Coalition are yet to bring out a governorship aspirant that will actually succeed Governor Fubara. And this Rainbow Coalition comprises 4 political influential actors. That's the PDP, the APC, the Labour Party, and the AA, that is the Alliance, the Action Alliance. Now, how realistic is this 4-party alliances? The APC, the PDP, the Labour Party, and the AA. And can such a diverse coalition hold 2027 together?
Politics is a game of interest, as I always state. Now, if this alliance comprises of the Labour Party, the PDP, the APC, and the
Action Alliance,
if they are able to align their interests, I don't see a reason why they will not be able to work together. I don't see a reason why they will not be able to work together if they decide under the Rainbow Coalition. Now, they are, Mr. Wike is trying to tell us in that luncheon that come 2027, whoever that is going to become the president that will succeed Tinubu, the governor that will succeed Fubara, is going to come from the Rainbow Coalition. And of course, it still boils down to the same thing. We have other political parties in Rivers State. Of course, we have a scores of political parties. Now, only 4 is out of the scores. It's trying to tell you that the power or the opportunity to produce the person that's going to succeed Fubara lies only with them. In the first place, how does that sound? Are you trying to declare other political parties incapacitated heading to the election? So whatever claim that they are making, it is their own. Like as I said, I will not be going to a battle with the mindset I'm going to be defeated. So to me, whatever they are saying belongs to them. It has no bearing as far as what is going to happen definitely in 2027 is concerned. Because at the end of the day, it is the votes of Rivers people that is going to count, and not the will of a group of persons. So it is left for whoever, it is left for the electorate in Rivers State to decide that we are not ready to surrender to whatever it is that is called the Rainbow Coalition. So it is left for Rivers people to decide.
All right, thank you so much, Vincent. Over to you, Emerald. Quickly before we jet out of the studio, I don't know, is Wike having double face? Because initially the APC governorship aspirant in Rivers State is Chinda, which is an alliance to Wike. And then in PDP, the same governorship aspirant in PDP as well is also Wike alliance. Now Wike is coming out to revoke that statement that these 2 individuals do not have any connection with him, that he did not bring out these people as governorship aspirants in Rivers State, rather that the coalition, the Rainbow Coalition, are yet to produce a governorship aspirant who will succeed Fubara come 2027. So, I don't know, can you clarify us on this?
Well, the issue of who succeed and or whose decision it is to succeed, I want to believe that succeeding and becoming a governor or taking a particular position should be vested in the hands of citizens to decide. But however, if this personality called Wike has taken so much power into his hands and deciding who takes over and who doesn't take. My question is this: how credible is this individual that you're bringing? Okay, fine. If you say that, you want to bring in, just like you said, you want to bring in someone, they should decide on everything. Is this person credible enough to take over the affairs of the state? So that should be the topmost, the credibility of the individual coming in. The 2 individuals fighting for his interests, I have no idea what they are fighting for. Okay, do politicians in Nigeria really see Wike to be the one to decide their fate? Who is that person that eventually is going to stand up and say, okay, this is how it should be and this is how it should not be. So it's entirely up to politicians to sit together and work for one purpose and one purpose only. And that purpose should be that we have the people's concern. Do you have the interest of the people concerned at heart? Do you know? Do you feel? Are you sensitive enough to know, to put yourselves in the shoes of the people of
Rivers.
Yes, of this country, even the country at large. Yes. So it's not about whose interest, who is aligning or wicked denying. Okay, I don't know these people. I don't know what we are fighting over. But basically, let it be a credible character that will take Rivers State to that paradise that we so desire. Thank you.
Many thanks, Vincent, for joining us on the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. We have talked about a lot about the will of our politicians heading to 2027. Above all, I believe that they have the interests of the masses at hand, and at heart rather, and we are hoping that the will of the masses is going to prevail. Afar, whom among these politicians are going to eventually lead the citizens of Rivers State on the path of Wike and whoever they are going to be governor, and then of course the likes of Tinubu, Atiku, Amechi, and Peter Obi. We hope that the will of the people of Nigeria will prevail for them.
Definitely, we hope for the best. And many thanks, Emerald, for joining us on the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Cassie. Thank you. It's really, really wonderful to be here. And I want to also add that let the best win.
Exactly.
We want the best.
Exactly.
Yes.
Let the best party wins. And to you, our amazing viewers, for tuning in, I am Cassie Tony, reminding you to stay informed and stay ahead. And do well to join us next time for more breaking news. Do have a beautiful day and happy new month to you.